And then I'm not sure if you're familiar with Zoom, but when you are done, it will attach video and audio file. And we just need to somehow transport that video file. You can even put it on the ACC share drive on the Gmail account if you want. And then Dawn can get it from there.
Okay. So does it send the MP4 or the video file to you, or where does the file come?
No, you'll have to download it first, and then once you download it, it might take just a few minutes. You can upload that to the drive. I'm going to create a folder right now.
Okay. So does that go to my own Zoom account, or
no?
It will pop up a little folder just to say where you want to save it.
Oh, okay.
As soon as we close the meeting, then once everybody's off, it'll pop up secondary on your screen. It'll say, where do you want to save the folder? And so you just select wherever you want, and then you can drag and drop it wherever you onto the ACC folder.
Okay, sounds good.
And I created that folder in the ACC drive.
I have a question for you guys. Can you hear my ceiling fan? Like, is it making any weird sounds on your end?
No.
Cool, okay. It's really loud, so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't interfering with anybody.
I just heard back from Patrick, and he said that he's not able to make it for today. But.
Okay. Okay, so it's 6:05.
All right, are we still waiting for Dawn to come back on?
Oh, did she jump off?
I think she was.
I'm just going to try my best. That's up to you since you're recording, Kim. But I'm just going to try multiple computers here and try to get on as soon as I can. I can hear everybody. I just can't see or use the internet at all.
Oh, no.
So I'm just going to keep trying on my side. Since it is recording, I'm okay if you guys want to get started, and I'll just keep trying.
Okay. And Letty, did you still want me to go ahead and run today's meeting, or did you want to?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. So, and bear with me, this is my first time to run a meeting. So, so we'll call the meeting to order, 6:05. And the first thing is visitors to address the commission. So would anyone like to address the commission? Nope. Okay, the second part of the agenda is to review the fiscal report. So did everyone have a chance to review on the packet the budget and the fiscal report?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm sorry to have to ask this, but do we have to make a motion to approve the budget?
No, because we're not approving a budget, we're just reviewing it.
Okay. All right, so so we're moving on to discussion items, and the first one is the book drops. So Margaret and I, is Margaret still on the meeting? I think she is
not. She's having the same internet issues that Dawn is.
Oh no, okay. Well, in regard to the book drops, she is working on a contract. I know that she's been in contact with the city. This is in regards to painting the 2 book drops that are in front of the library. We have an artist that's selected, Antonio Doggett, who will be painting them. So right now, Margaret contacted her since our last meeting to confirm that she's still interested in doing that project. So right now, we're just working out the details and the logistics and getting a contract prepared for her before she can work out getting it. So before the meeting, Margaret had emailed me the contract to update one of the addendum. So I'll plan on doing that tonight, and then she should be able to get it back to the city by the 3rd. So that's the only update on that. I mean, does anyone have any questions about the book drops?
Nope.
Okay, pretty straightforward. Next item is the traffic wraps. So I think the focus is to reassign the leader and make a decision to proceed with this project?
I thought Ken had taken it over, or am I mistaken? Ken?
That's I did volunteer to do that. I just need information, you know, as far as like contacts to follow up with and all that. But yeah, definitely, I'm willing to do that.
Okay, Liddy, I think that you had the materials for that project. Is that right?
Yeah. So Ken, you and we can meet after the meeting, and I can get you that information.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
Hi guys, I had a terrible time getting in.
Okay, well, I quickly, if we could circle back to 4A, I quickly gave everybody an update on the book drops.
Okay.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that part?
Just that if we can get it before the council on the 3rd and get it signed, I'll run it down to Tony. I'm waiting on one last piece of information from her, but Public Works, I don't know if I'm repeating what Kim's already said, but Public Works is ready to help us get the book drops one at a time down there to her. So I think it'll go well. She's, doesn't have a lot of activity at work. She works down at the marina, and her shop is closed to the public, although she deals with people through the door, the window. So she's hoping to work on it during while she's at work. So I'm excited.
I am too.
That's all.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we covered the traffic wraps, and the next item is mural projects. So Letitia, did you have an update on that?
No.
Should we decide if we're going to proceed? Because this one was about the one on I forgot what the building was called, but are we going to proceed with anything in regard to murals?
Well, we had a couple. We had the insurance, Heather, her side of the building, they were seeking some assistance for somebody to do the mural on their side of the building. And then the woman, and I'll be honest, with COVID, you guys, it's been insane with trying to handle communications for my clients. So I have not been able to reach out to the woman who is trying to do the mural project with the city to get her to come to today's meeting. So that's why I don't currently have any updates as of yet.
Okay. So we'll table that one and maybe revisit in our next meeting. Okay. Little Free Libraries.
Yeah, so I've been working on the RFP, and I apologize, I didn't get it done. I've been very busy with work, and we're expecting a baby in about 8 weeks. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So we've been really busy working on other things, and it's almost done. I wasn't sure if it was possible once it's completed, if I can email it out to the council and people can review it and maybe give me feedback on like verbiage if they don't like the way does the feedback need to happen during a meeting, or can feedback on verbiage happen via email and then like a final draft can be presented to the council for approval? How does that work?
So you can always email us for the feedback. That's part of the reason why we split up into like subcommittees to be able to do that sort of thing. We just can't make decisions. So if you're looking for something to be approved, sent to the council, that would need to happen at the next meeting.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking for feedback, that's not making decisions. So we're fine to do that.
Okay. And it can, since I don't think I have a subcommittee, so that's why I was wondering, like if I can just email like the entire council, or if it had to be only 3, or kind of. Okay.
We should be fine. Yeah. Because we're not making decisions.
Yeah, it's not deliberation. So.
Okay.
Well, great. So I'm glad to see that project making progress. The next part is the skateboard bench, but I know that Patrick isn't here today to go over that. So is everyone okay if we table that until the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the Summer Youth Art Contest. So we are voting on the different categories. Dawn, I know that, oh wait. I know that were you able to log on?
Yes, I was.
Okay, do you want to share those or do you want me to share my screen?
Either way, I have the packet pulled up here.
Okay.
So I can share my screen really quick.
Hang on, Dawn. I need to make you co-host.
I did, or I made it accessible.
Sorry.
Okay, you should be good, Dawn.
Okay. Gonna pull up the packet here.
Okay, so voting on this, I talked to Dawn a little bit beforehand, and I understand that the voting has to be public. So I figured what we can do is evaluate. I don't know if anyone had a chance to review the pieces of art yet to figure out which one you would want to vote for. But I figured we could say which one, like if you wanted to show each one, and then we could say, well, I vote for this one, and then Dawn, if you wouldn't mind tallying them up, and then we could announce them at the end. Would that work?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Oh, no worries. Okay. And I'm going to abstain from voting in the 0 to 5 because my son emailed a piece. So I don't know how, and I'll vote on the other two. So so I guess we could just go ahead and show them one at a time. And if you want to vote for it, then just say so.
Remind me, what are we going to do something more with these pieces once we have winners?
So what we had published is once we select the winners, they would get the prize, which is another thing we, what happened in the last meeting, we had only approved 200, so we actually need to approve another $100. I don't know how that happened, but once we select the winner, then they'll be published on the city government page and then also on the Arts Commission website.
Okay.
And then of course, any other channels through Crystal? Like social media, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Will these?
So if we could, just before we get started, just make sure that we do approve the additional 100. Last meeting, $200 was approved. However, on the sheet here, it does come to a total of 300.
Okay, so am I able to make a motion to approve the additional 100?
First, how did we excuse me, back up. How did we miscalculate that big of a difference?
It looks like, so the 3 age groups are broken up. The prize money comes to $150, $100, and $50. So I'm thinking there was just some sort of miscalculation or error in between what was approved and what was posted on the flyer.
Okay. Let's go back and take a look at our budget to make sure we're not, where did I put my?
You have plenty of funds in there to do an extra $100.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're able to still see my screen here, I have the fiscal report. There's still quite a bit here of available funds.
Okay. Now that we have that squared away, go ahead, Kimberly.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the extra $100.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, sounds good.
Okay, so I'm not really sure if there's a certain process, I was thinking I'll just scroll through. I don't want to take too much or too little time on either one. So I'll just sort of scroll through. Here's the first one. And this is going to be for the age range of 0 to 5. And the prompt was to, it says coloring contest, use your imagination. And the prize winnings here for this age group is $50. So here is the first one. And I tried to include on the left what they included in terms of what their inspiration was. So this one here was a zip line at McBride. That first one I showed was a dragon. And you can let me know if I'm going too fast.
And so if we want to vote for one, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry?
If we want to vote for one, then do we just say so when the image comes up? Is that what we
Yeah, or
decided?
at the end.
Or,
yeah, if you've already reviewed it. Either way, I have like a little tally sheet here, so either way.
okay.
This one here was titled My 7 Friendly Dragons.
Apparently dragons are very popular with.
That's why I asked
I noticed.
if there was a prompt. I was like, oh, is it dragon related? I don't remember that. That's funny.
The next one here was titled Horse Eating Grass. Dragon. And this one was a drawing of his favorite book, Bye Bye Big Bad Bully Bug. Okay, and that is that.
Yeah, I think
that's
it
it for that age group.
So do you want to just go down the commissioner list and then ask us, or do you want us to message you, or?
I think the
Yeah,
first
I
would be the
did-
best. That just because
Yeah,
I
I
asked
checked
Dawn
with
about
Pat.
chatting. Sorry.
That's okay. You can go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say just because I asked Dawn about chatting and she advised me that they have to be public. So I think it would be the best to go down the list and everyone can say which one they choose.
Okay. And what do we do if we don't have a winner? Like there's the chance that there's a tie, or do we have a tiebreaker?
I'll vote.
Okay. That'll work. That'll work. Thank you, Margaret. Okay.
I don't think I'm allowed to, but I mean.
We haven't done something like this before, so I think it should be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be able to narrow it down somewhat, like with this first round, and then maybe if we have ones that there's a bunch with one vote, maybe we can like
Vote
narrow it down
again.
further. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Letty, your name is first on my tally list here.
Okay, I vote for Leo.
All right, and then Patrick is not here. Carly is not here. We're going to skip on Kim. Jenna.
I vote for Axel.
Okay, and then is Ken here?
Yes.
Yes.
Gosh, this is gonna make it tough, but I would vote for Alistair, the zip line.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, in this case, I mean, I guess we can then narrow it down to the 3 of Alistair, Axel, and Leo.
Okay.
I thought about this. I don't know what to do in this predicament here. So I'll pull those up again. Let me find Alistair. Here's Alistair. This one is Zipline at McBride. And let me find, here's Axel, my 7 friendly dragons. And here is Leo, drawing of his favorite book.
Do you want to just go down the named list again, or?
Oh, sure, yeah. So first was Letty.
Alistair.
Jenna.
I still say Axel, but I think
Okay.
since you said Alistair.
Right. So at that point, unless Ken wanted to change, then yeah, it would be Alistair.
I'm pretty committed.
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations to Alistair. Is this one here? Zipline at McBride. Okay, so I will go to the next age group. This one is ages 6 to 13. And the prompt was create a piece of artwork that shows your favorite local activity. So the first one here is Columbia County Fair. And next we have Trestle Beach. This one was titled Watching the Sunrise from My Living Room. And some of them didn't come with any sort of title, so I just left it blank. This one is Dancing at Element Dance Studio. And I included multiple here since it was a 3D piece of art. This one is Riding the BMX Trail at McCormick Park. This one is titled Mount St. Helens over the Columbia River. And this one is a picture of walking to Roy Thai and eating at the waterfront. And here is the next one. And this one. And there's a lot more submissions in this age group, so if you want me to run through them again, I can do that as well. This one is titled Swimming at Pixie Park. And then I believe this is the last one of the age group. This one is Independence Day by the Courthouse. And yes, that's the last one for that age group. So I'll just sort of scroll slowly up again unless anybody wants me to stop anywhere to look at one.
That cardboard was a popular background for shooting artwork on. I don't know if anybody else noticed that.
I noticed that, yeah.
On like 3 of them.
I figured they were from the same family.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So again, my list as far as commission members voting is the same before. If you guys want more time or anything, just let me know. Are you ready to vote, Letty, or do you want more time?
Oh, I think she's muted.
Typical Zoom issue, right? I'm gonna vote for Wallace, the 3D one, the one in the park, the skate park.
Okay. All right, got your vote down here. And Kim.
I'll vote for Brooklyn, the Roy tie.
And Jenna?
Wallace.
And Ken?
I'm going to say Wallace. I love the mixed media.
Okay. All right, well, with 3 of the votes, it looks like it's going to Wallace. Let me pull up his art here. That's that. So congratulations to him. Okay, so the last age group we have here is 14 to 18. And the prompt was to create a piece of artwork that represents community. And we had 1 entry. And it looks like I didn't put the age on this one. This was age 15. Sorry about that. I thought I had that on here. And this was a drawing of his rock band, and the eagle is the band's mascot.
Oh, cool. I guess that's an easy decision then.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that wraps everything up. It was really fun on my end to go through all the artwork, so thank you to everybody who submitted.
So going forward, for contacting the people who won, is that something where you would send an email, or what next step should we take?
Yeah, I think what I'll do tomorrow, I have the contact information for everybody, is just reach out and let them know. Some of them provided a preferred method of contact, some email, some phone. So I'll just go through that and I will let them know.
Okay. And then with the, oh, sorry.
At that point, I'll get with, as far as the actual, the prize, I will get with, I'm thinking Jen in accounting and have her process that.
If it may be a little problematic to issue a check to a 4-year-old, so I'm assuming in some of these cases we would need to issue it to the parents.
Mm-hmm.
I would think so. Yeah, when I reach out, that'll be part of what I ask.
Yeah, I think
perfect.
in any case, somebody who's a youth.
Right.
And then as far as promoting it on the city government page, do you want me to write something up, or what would be the best way to do that?
You certainly can. And I can send, most of that stuff will go through Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
So I can send her maybe the artwork, the pictures of the artwork that won. And then if you want to add something to that, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I have a question about that. Since we're going to be, putting images of the artwork up on the city's website and, maybe on social media, since these are just, they're like phone pictures, do we want to see if we can get a hold of the actual artwork to take a nicer photograph of so that it represents it better, or do we just want to use these ones?
I can ask the parents that, if that's something that you guys want.
What do you guys think? I just was curious if we wanted to try to take a nicer photograph of them.
I think it would be nice. We had put it on the initial inquiry that if they wanted to take a picture of themselves with the artwork, then that might be a nice way to promote it too, but I don't think anyone did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think now that we have the winners selected, I think we can go back and say yours has been selected and we would like to share it across various media outlets, local media outlets. Would you please take a photo? Well, but then you wouldn't be able to see them, because I just got to think about it. Because the art would be too small. If the child is holding it, we want to display it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could just go back and ask them to take just another photo, maybe against a different backdrop. I don't know. To me, I say just they look okay to display.
Because I know it's only going to be promoted in social media.
Yeah.
So it's not really necessary to do something more high quality unless everyone thinks otherwise.
Well, in that case, if we're going to use these, then maybe we can ask the parents to take a picture of their child with their artwork, and we can include both pictures. So a close-up of the artwork and a picture of the kid with the artwork, so that we can put a name to, like a face to the work.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, awesome. So anything else with this? What did everyone think of the way, now that we've kind of seen it go through? Do we feel like, because this is the first time that we've run any kind of contest like this, and I had brought it up just because we weren't doing the trash can competition, something that the kids could do. Do we feel like this worked, or do we feel like, next time we run something like this, we do things a little bit differently?
I think this was something good to do, especially right now where people are looking for activities to do in our community. Because in the situation that we're in, the environment that we're in, day-to-day basis, it seems like things are changing. So this, I think, was something nice for parents to do with their kids. It kept the kids engaged, the parents engaged. It gave them something to look forward to. I really believe that this is something that we should continue with. Because you have the flexibility of incorporating it however you want. Like you said, you brought it up because you were looking for trash can painting replacement. But who's not to say that we couldn't incorporate this for 4th of July next year in addition to a bigger project? I think it's something simple that's just something good to get the kids, especially the kids involved.
And what about the age group too? Because it seemed like we saw a lot in the 6 through 13. I'm wondering if that's too big of a gap or if we need to divide it up differently for the next time.
Since it's the first time, I feel like those divisions were pretty good, and we just need to do it again and see if maybe it just was, you know, how it was promoted, or maybe it was, you know, maybe it just has to do with what kids had extra time like during the time we were doing this. Since it was the first time, I think it's too soon to be like, oh, that. Like,
to see if there's some kind of trend, like if we do it again.
Yeah, I think also if we want to keep doing these, like it'd be fun to maybe do ones for like even older age groups too, might be kind of interesting to try out, or maybe developing for ourselves like some sort of criteria for evaluation, so that, you know, in the event, like if we're all voting and everybody votes for a different person, then like how do we narrow it down? Yeah, like if there's some sort of protocol, or maybe like you make a case for why you voted for the one you voted for, or something, just so that it's yeah, I guess that's all.
Yeah, I think that's really good insight. So, and that's something, you know, to keep in mind once we've seen this through, that we can apply if we do it in the future. All right, so anything else about this art contest? Are we good to move on to the next agenda item?
It sounds like we're ready to move on to the next one.
Okay. Okay, so the next one is fundraising ideas. So Letty?
So because of our wonderful environment, you know, there's some things that we necessarily can't do right off. Ooh, who's echoing? Ooh, sorry. So there's projects that we want to do, but we need the funding for them. And I think with everything that was going on, I'm not sure about grants. I'm not sure how things are looking as far as what grants are available, because a lot of how our funding comes through is through grants. And so I thought it would be a good idea for us to just, you know, come up with 1 to 2, maybe 3 ideas on how we can generate some additional funding. So that way, when we have projects that come to us and maybe we weren't aware of a grant, or we had just missed the grant opportunity for it because they came to us after the fact, or maybe it doesn't fit a particular grant, we still have funding available, because that is the purpose of our commission, is to help in different levels, one of them being, you know, funding as well. So I would like to hear from you guys and see what ideas you came up with. And then thankfully we have Matt on here, so he can say yay or nay. Who would like to go first?
I can start.
Okay.
I had just a couple of relatively loose ideas, but the art contest thing was so much fun, and I think there's a lot of momentum there. And one of the thoughts I had was that potentially we could accept submissions for design ideas for either, you know, maybe t-shirts that could be sold, or masks, because everybody needs a mask right now. And like, you know, some St. Helens masks or something like that. And, you know, that could be designed by a community member or community members who we voted on. So a little investment up front, but I think it's something that people would support and buy.
Arts
Sorry.
Craft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another idea was, you know, we're not able to really meet with our community members right now. So maybe, you know, hosting a little, like a monthly happy hour or something like that, where there's maybe like a performance or something, a virtual concert or something like that, where people donated and then the community was able to come together and virtually spend some time together. Those were just a couple of thoughts I had.
I really, really like those.
Speaking of t-shirts, that design of the courthouse with the fireworks would
Yeah.
be really effective on a t-shirt.
Yeah, it would. Probably not too difficult to print.
Okay, who'd like to go next?
So I had a couple ideas. Are you guys all familiar with Run for the Arts?
Yeah.
So since they're not doing the normal Run for the Arts this year, like a lot of those types of organizations have moved to virtual events, and they're like walkathons. So I wasn't sure if we wanted to maybe try to do organize some sort of virtual walkathon where you get people to raise money by getting donors that pledge, you know, X amount per mile or per what have you. I thought another fun thing to do would be like a whodunit art auction. So the council would acquire, we could acquire like canvases or panels, like little wood panels that are like maybe a size that's 8 by 8 or smaller, so that it's not. Sorry, did somebody say something? Sorry. Okay. So like a smaller panel, so it's not too intimidating as far as size. But you have, like, we would get panels and then have people sign up to check one out, like artists in the community, kids, I mean, whoever. And then they would decorate or paint the panel and then give it back. And then we have a virtual art auction of these art pieces. And we don't say who has done what. So then that way you have, you know, you might have like a professional artist panel alongside a 4-year-old's panel, and people are buying them because they like them and because they want to support the organization, not because they, you know, wanted to add a certain like person to their collection or something. It's kind of a nice way to put everybody on the same level playing field.
Did any of you see the empty bowls auction for the food bank?
Like a
No, I didn't see that one.
ceramic.
I saw that.
Like a silver bowl type of.
Normally they would have empty bowls where you would buy a ticket and you pick out a bowl and you get a soup dinner. But this time, because of the pandemic, they just auctioned the bowls. And when you went to pick up your bowls, they gave you a recipe from Wild Currant and a bag of dried split peas, so you could make Wild Currant's famous split pea soup. And it seemed like it went well. I signed in too late, and a lot of the bowls were already sold, but I did manage to buy several. But I think it's interesting idea, Jenna. I think a lot of times, though, it helps to say that it's for a specific purpose, not just, you know, to put money in our fund. So if we had a project that we said it was for, I think that would really boost interest instead of just having a generic fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had a project, that I think that would be ideal.
Sure.
I think it would work both ways. I think we could have it for a specific project, or, you know, if we tell the community this is to help put funds into the Arts Commission, you know, that also might pique their interest and ask, you know, get the conversation started, which is what we need. We need the community to engage with us more. We need them to ask us, what are you doing? What can you do? You know, that was the whole purpose of our monthly, you know, meet and greets. And people would come and voice, you know, their concerns or, you know, what they would like to see. And like Ken said, we haven't been able to do that. But I think if we choose to go a route like that, what Jenna just recommended, then, you know, that might also help engage with the community again. What's funny, Jenna, is I was actually thinking of something similar. I was thinking of a art walk. And when I was thinking of the art walk, though, I was thinking of how the rec center does their 0.5 for 4th of July, doing something similar, but we would use a similar route, but we would also have artists, you know, all various magnitudes, have their art displayed along the route. So that way you're seeing, you know, artists from the local community and you're walking the route, and I think, you know, the rec center was charging maybe $5 or $10 per person, and we could do the same thing. So, I mean, so it sounds like we have a lot of really good ideas. And then I don't know, Matt, if you can answer this question, but can we put a donate button on the website for the Arts Commission?
I'm hesitant to say yes, because we don't do that for any other commissions or anything else. I would have to probably run that by our city administrator and probably our city council. I don't know that we've ever had that question before, but I'm happy.
Yeah, and if one of us could go and maybe, you know, I think we would be the exception to the rule, meaning that because of how we're involved with the arts and the cultural and historical, you know, just trying to ensure that we have means to continue to help with these types of projects, in addition to if we want to take on, like, I think where I was coming, you know, with trying to look for various ways to fundraise is the canoe still sticks to the back of my mind. And I recall when they came and they wanted the commission to take over the responsibility for it, but we were all hesitant because we didn't really have the funds, I don't believe, to do it, but there was going to be a lot involved with it because it was so unique. And I think they were looking, and Kim, I know you were there, please refresh or correct me if I'm wrong, but they were looking to basically no longer use it and just have it displayed as an art piece. But
that's what I remember.
We didn't know how to do it, where to do it, how to store it, how to take care of it. So we were all just kind of like, yeah, let's not do anything yet. But you know, it's still sitting on the back of my mind, like I said, and I feel like if we had ideas like this, fundraising ideas where we can do more stuff like that, I think that would really help when it came to people, you know, coming with ideas or wanting to do stuff and getting more involved.
I see typically when people ask where they're giving donations for it, like Margaret was saying, it's usually for something big and grand. It's not for a skateboard project or art contest or something. It's for the gateway sculptures that, you know, obviously that's a huge undertaking, but that's, I think the vision from the council was that the Arts Commission, that's what they're there for, is to do these big art installations in the community. I think that canoe is an opportunity for the Arts Commission to do something together as a group that is one big project. Don't everybody speak at once.
What was the canoe? I don't know if I was
It was I think it was before you had started on the commission, but it was a Flying Eagle canoe. I don't have the notes in front of me, but it's this big carved canoe with the head of an eagle on it. So it was a while. Letty, if you can refresh my memory, it was about a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, I want to say maybe because Jen was still on the commission. So it's about 1 to 2 years ago, but it has some really deep ties to this community. Kids who are now adults were the ones who had a hand in carving it. And they have a guy, I don't think they're doing it anymore, but he would come, I think he's from Nevada, and he would come to town and he would take the canoe out and he would actually, you know, they would float in the canoe. So there was a lot of historical stories. I mean, there was a whole thing around it. And I think they were getting close to wanting to retire the boat. They just did not have, if I recall, they just needed somebody to take the responsibility for it. So that's why it was presented to the Arts Commission.
Yeah, and I think the idea behind the council's hope that you would take it on was to create some kind of artful piece, you know, somewhere doing something with it. Currently it's sitting in storage with a bunch of other old crap. So it's not doing it any, you know, pleasure being just in a storage unit.
So like an like a sculptural installation somewhere, maybe.
Well, and like I said, it's not an easy answer or you know, a short discussion to have for ideas. And I think that is kind of where the ACC may want to reach out to the community and get their ideas and talk about where it should be and what it should do. And it's definitely not something you can just put out without any kind of like barrier or something, because people will destroy it, unfortunately. So it needs to put somewhere where it can be protected. I know initially we had talked about doing some kind of, you know, plastic plexi or something like around it, or like it would sit in a box where it's protected somewhere, or it's in some building, maybe it's in, you know, maybe the library or something where people aren't accustomed to like just getting in it and rummaging around in it, but they're able to look at it and appreciate it.
It was here before my time, and that it became a hazard because it wasn't secured and kids would crawl in it and they were afraid it was going to roll over on them.
Yeah, there was also talk about displaying it down by the riverfront, but again, you run the risk of people crawling all over it. That's part of the reason I think everyone was just kind of like, we don't know what to do with it, because I think it's owned by the city, correct?
That's correct. It is owned by the city, and the person that usually has taken it out in the past is not anymore. I think that relationship has been kind of severed with the city.
Kind of totem pole, like, I mean, it'd be really great if we could get, like, commission somebody to build a stand so it could be displayed vertically, like a totem pole, and then that way you wouldn't have to worry about people climbing in it, and it would be anchored. I googled it to see what it looks like. It's really beautiful.
It seems like there's a similar sort of canoe that's displayed in Astoria up at the Column.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how they keep it from collecting water, because it seems like it would eventually rot through if it just held water. But
I googled that too.
Is there
Maybe that's something that we could develop a subcommittee on if we decide, you know, we wanted to pursue that.
But see, again, so the fundraising ideas, I mean, now you're kind of seeing where just talking about the canoe, now we're coming to fruition with various thoughts about, okay, yeah, we do want to try to do something with it, but what are the costs going to be? What is, you know, safety? I mean, what are we looking at? Maintenance, because then we would have to include and up the cost of maintenance. For this, we're probably going to have to get it water sealed, you know, for protection so it doesn't deteriorate. You know, things like that. So I think, Dawn, what we should do, and I know Jamie's done it in the past, there's always been like a little sub note at the bottom of our agendas and such, where we make a notation that we need to discuss a specific art project. So if you could add that, please, to future agendas, just so we keep it on the back, you know, just so we keep it fresh, and then we see what we do.
Okay.
Thank you.
So definitely, I think we can think of this project before the next meeting, because somebody would have to be willing to take it on and do the research behind it and develop a budget and everything.
And then what I'd like to do is probably put Ken or Kim, did you have any ideas? Sorry,
Oh, sorry, the sound is breaking up a little bit. There's like an echo.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too. Did you have any suggestions for fundraising?
No, I've been looking at the other projects, but I really like what Ken and Jenna had come up with. And I think we should absolutely pursue, think about what we want to pursue for those.
Okay, so Ken, Jenna, if you guys can email me all of that information, and then I'll compile something that we can discuss further for the next meeting, because it's not an immediate need right now. It looks like through the fiscal report, it looks like we're okay, and we don't have a lot of other stuff happening just yet. But it's good to have this kind of information and begin to pursue it, look into it. For future, yeah. Because like we're talking about, we can attach some of this maybe to one particular project, but I still think we also need, because like, if you recall, Matt said we have to look at our budget. I think 2,000 of it is us generating the money. And so this is where all of this is stemming from. So just to make sure, just ensuring that we're continuously generating that kind of money.
And you do also generally get some money from Public Works. A long time ago, before I was part of the city, and Margaret can probably speak to this, there's a percentage of Public Works capital projects that goes into the Arts Fund. So you haven't seen that whatever that funds are, that hasn't been transferred from last fiscal year. So I usually wait till the end of the fiscal year to where all the money is all finalized out and there's final numbers for all the capital projects that Public Works does. But you do get a percentage of those, whatever money is spent on capital projects, into the ACC. And typically that's a pretty standard couple grand or so. It might have been a little bit less in, a few years back because we weren't doing very much, but now things are starting to pick up with Public Works projects. So you should see a little bit of money. I don't have any idea how much that will be yet, though.
So for community members who are listening in, can you define what Public Works projects are?
Any capital improvement projects over $5,000, there is a certain percentage of whatever the cost of that project is that goes towards ACC for their kind of operating. Margaret, do you have?
I was thinking it might be in the municipal code, but
I think
but there was a certain percentage if the project was above ground and another percentage if it was below ground. And during the time when they were doing the what was called the I&I project, where they were improving the sanitary and storm sewers so that street runoff didn't go into the sanitary system, storm runoff didn't go into the sanitary system, there was a lot of money flowing into the Arts and Cultural Commission because those were huge projects. And that's when they did the first Gateway sculpture project. When they did the second Gateway sculpture project, they had to do the GoFundMe or Kickstarter or whatever it was, because they didn't have that kind of revenue stream coming in anymore.
Okay. So it sounds like the last time the ACC saw that kind of money from the Public Works was I'm going to say 5 years ago.
More than that, I think.
More than that? Okay.
Yeah, it's been more than that. And like I said, we've been pretty light on capital projects in Public Works the past several years. So there hasn't been much of anything that met that threshold. So, but like I said, I do see Public Works definitely picking up. So.
Okay. That's very, very good to keep in mind. That might be something, you guys, that we could utilize for the canoe. keep that, I'm going to throw that idea out there. So, okay. I am done with fundraisers.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the St. Helens Juneteenth flag. Is it okay if I share my screen really quick?
Wait,
Okay.
are we skipping the pumpkin carving contest?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, let's go through that first.
What's up with that, Kimberly? Okay, so I totally fell in love with Kimberly's idea. Oh, I hear, I'll be careful. So I totally fell in love with Kimberly's idea with the youth project. And I got to thinking myself, because if you remember last meeting, I asked what's going on with Halloween Town, and everything is still apparently up in the air. And I know we are trying to look for ways to engage the community with art. And so I thought, well, what the heck? Why don't we do a pumpkin carving contest? And so it would actually be pretty similar to what Kim's already done. I figured, why reinvent the wheel? She had a pretty good grasp, a pretty good base. The only thing I would change is the money. I would do 100 for the older age bracket, and then 50, and then 25. If you guys are thinking, based on the communication we just had with the youth art contest, of breaking it down even more, then I could probably bump up. I could, maybe throw in a $75 prize. We would do the same thing. We would do all the same promotions to get submissions. Submissions would be submitted to Dawn Photographs, of course, with name, age, and everything. They don't necessarily have to be carved. I know some people prefer to just get really decorative with pieces. I've seen that, spray on glitter, things like that. Mm-hmm. We're just going to encourage them to get really creative. So we can call it like your artistic pumpkin carving contest. Now that we've seen that Halloween Town is happening, there's going to be a lot of changes. I already looked into the agenda, and I'm to kind of get an idea of what's happening. I would like to, share the information with them so they can also share it through there. See if they're, because it's not going to so much be a partnership, just letting the community know what Halloween activities are happening. The contest, I would like to start maybe around October 1st to kick off with Halloween, and then have them turn in all submissions maybe about mid-October. And let me see, does that work? I don't even think to see if that works with our meetings. We might need to have a special meeting, so just a heads up to vote for this. And then what I would love to do is have everyone who's done a pumpkin, see if some way we can have their pumpkin displayed at the waterfront, where of course most of the activity happens for Halloween Town. And then see if maybe we can have some businesses along Main Street share a couple of display a couple of pumpkins as well. And then we can just make a simple little pretty, placard or paper placard that shows who the winners are. And then that way when, the pumpkins are displayed at the window fronts, people will see who the winners of the contest are. So what do you think?
I like it. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have them. I mean, if they're going to be submitting the actual pumpkins so we can display them somewhere where the public can see them, then maybe they don't need to submit a photograph for us to vote on. Like we could do it like county fair, and you vote on you vote on the artwork that's there, and then we do ribbons and that sort of thing. I guess I just didn't know if a photograph was necessary if they're going to turn in the actual pumpkins.
Well, they're going to turn in the pumpkins after the fact. We would have to have them submit the photo so we can vote on them. And then, because what were you thinking? The community vote?
No, I mean we could do it like what, I mean, couldn't we, our special meeting be like we all get together and go look at all the pumpkins together? Maybe, or I guess I just didn't, I guess I
The
was
last time we had this pumpkin decorating contest, well, in all the years that we've had prior, there was a display that was set up in the window of the council chambers. But in more recent years, tourism has taken advantage of that space in order to really be more of an attraction with all the spooky sounds and the funny displays. But if there were an alternate location to display them where people could see them, I would say that you need to have a really tight turnaround between when the pumpkins are displayed and a decision is made. Because the last time we did it, nobody owned the project. It was a great idea and enough was done to get it started, but nobody owned it. And so the pumpkins sat there until they were growing mold and a decision was not made promptly. And when the decision was made, we didn't really know what pumpkin belonged to who because they turned them in at City Hall and there wasn't any mechanism like a piece of paper they filled out.
Yeah.
So this is something that because of the character of the pumpkins, you have to get them up there, make a decision, and then get them out of there when they start to degrade. But it's a great idea, but I think some thought needs to be given to how long the pumpkin's going to look good.
Well, see, and that's why I liked with Kimberly's idea, because if we start promoting it the 1st of October, they have 2 weeks-ish, so mid-October, to plan their idea and then submit the art to us via photograph. And then we make a decision right after that. And then by that time, I'll have a list of stores who would be open to displaying the pumpkins. So I don't necessarily want to display all of them at one store. I want to spread the pumpkins out. So we have one at maybe, I'll say the sewing, the seamstress store. We have one at Emmett Motors. We have one sitting at Plymouth Pub. And then whoever the winner is, there'll be a little, placard of some sort to indicate that they were the winner of this and this age bracket for the pumpkin carving contest or pumpkin art carving contest. And then that way, at that point, the shop owner, business owner, as soon as they see the pumpkin is starting to deteriorate, then they can check it.
I guess my thinking was if you had a hard date that people turned the pumpkins in at, then they would be completing their project as close to that as possible. So then they would have the longest time from when it's turned in to when it starts getting gross. Versus like if they finish it and they take a picture of it, but then they don't turn it in until later because some people are going to finish at different times, then they are all going to be a different.
That's why I said mid-March, like mid-October. We give them until mid-October, and then that's around the time that we'll do our voting. So the promotions and everything, again, will begin around October 1st. We'll start promoting. Then they have until mid-October to submit what their pumpkin looks like. And then immediately after, we'll tell them what store, what restaurant, what business basically they'll be taking their pumpkin to. So they'll be the ones taking the pumpkin to the business, and then the business owner at that point, if the pumpkin lasts another week or two, because then by that time we'll be into Halloween. My pumpkins, they've usually lasted, we've gotten them the beginning, as long as they didn't get wet, and we can provide them some suggestions on how to make them last. They usually lasted right through Halloween. And then, I even had them there through mid-November. Because all I did was move the corner where it was starting to rot and it still looked like a pretty pumpkin. But of course, the businesses at that point, once Halloween happens, they can throw away the pumpkins.
I think the reality also is that you have to have a plan B for the coronavirus. I think we are seeing a real uptick. Today, Oregon had 14 deaths. This is not going in the right direction. So I think we have to be prepared to plan something that has a plan B in the event that we are under lockdown. And so maybe the photographs are a good way to be able to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
But I think we have to think that way for quite
Yeah,
some
because
time into the future.
If we see an uptake or people don't feel comfortable, then they don't have to hand it off. I mean, I'm not saying they have to. We're developing ideas. I think right now these are all logistical ideas. I think the main thing I was trying to get across was we're going to pretty much copy what Kimberly has already done and coming up with another artsy type project for the community to participate in.
Sure.
Okay, great. So I think that sounds like a really good idea, and that's something that we can think about before the next meeting. So it's July, so our next meeting won't be until September, so we can maybe solidify it by that point.
And then I'll come up with a proper budget and everything.
Okay.
What day
Do
in
we need,
September?
oh, sorry.
Out of curiosity, I'm sorry. Does anybody know?
Oh, what day? And so let me check here.
The 4th Tuesday?
It's on the 22nd.
Okay.
So is this something that we would need to make a motion on today? So that way Letty can get started on making the plans, or is this something that we would talk about in September?
We can talk about it in September. I'm totally comfortable with that because that'll still give us enough time. Because like I said, my train of thought was not starting promotions until October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, exactly what Jenna was saying, I was factoring all that into consideration. It'll give them time. It'll give them, 1 to 2 weeks to develop their idea, and then they can create it. Then they turn it in by mid-October. We have the special meeting, and then boom.
Okay.
We award everybody, and then we take the next step.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Is there anything else about the pumpkin carving contest?
I'm done unless anybody has any other questions or suggestions.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next item in the agenda, which is the St. Helens Juneteenth flag. So I will go ahead and share my screen really quick. Let's see. Okay, so I was provided with a letter signed by several residents of St. Helens. I'm just going to go ahead and read it off here. As we know, recently the Columbia County Commission passed Resolution 66-2020, which affirms our county's commitment to addressing systemic racism and proclaimed June 19th as Juneteenth. So what the letter says here is, we, the undersigned residents of St. Helens, would like to ask you to recommend the City Council to display a Juneteenth flag throughout the month of June in the coming years to celebrate the holiday, honoring the historical and ongoing struggles of the African American community. So this document here, this is what the Juneteenth flag looks like. These are the signatures that were received. I also have an email of support. And then there's some references here. And the flag would be something that's donated. So this, I think, falls under the cultural aspect from the Arts Commission. So, but yeah, and it's, the letter is just asking if this is something that we could get behind and support for the city to display the flag during the month of June in the coming years. So
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe the city of St. Helens has a flagpole.
So there's a picture here. The City of St. Helens displays, it's all the way at the bottom. There's 2 flagpoles that are outside City Hall. These 2.
Those are both owned by the county.
Okay, so that's
That
something
that whole plaza
Yeah,
belongs
the whole
to the
plaza
county.
is actually owned by the county. So
Okay.
you would need permission from the county to do those flags.
Kim, back at the beginning, you said it was the county commission, the Columbia County Commissioners
Yeah,
that approved that?
the Columbia County Commission passed that resolution.
Well, it's their flagpole, so that might be an easy ask from them if they've made this, if they've passed this resolution and they own the flagpoles.
Yeah,
Maybe
I was going to say, I don't think us as the Arts Commission it really doesn't matter if you have our support or not, because that's all county. Now, if it was city owned, then that's where we as the commission can put our support if we voted to go that way.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's, you know, that the plaza is owned by the county. So that's good to know. Is there anything that we could do with this letter that it was presented to us? Is that something that we can file, or, you know, I don't really know the process behind this.
I don't think there's really anything we can do with it.
You might ask them to redirect it to the Columbia County Commissioners in light of their resolution that they passed.
And maybe if, I mean, if we're all in agreement, you could also say that, you know, we're in support of that. So if there is anything they need us to do, but this isn't this is like outside our jurisdiction. But so I guess we'd need to make sure everybody.
Well, I would sign it. I mean, if this was passed around, I don't even know where this came from, but I would have, if given the opportunity, I certainly would.
So hold on. So you guys signing it, so there's two different things. There's a couple different things happening here. So initially Kimberly came to us because they addressed it to us with the understanding that we would provide support because everyone thought that that was city property.
Right.
Now that we understand it's not city property, it's county property, she doesn't need anything from the Arts Commission at all.
No.
Hit it on the nail. All they have to do is just go back and remove the St. Helens Arts and Cultural Commission and then just address it to the county commissioners, because we have no impact with the county. We only impact the city.
Matt, maybe this might be a question for you, but with the POW flag that was donated, I was reading an article about it, but it said that flag was donated to the city and given to the police department. How did that process work?
I honestly have no idea. I'm not familiar with the donation or even where that flag is.
It's the one that's underneath the U.S. flag.
On the county the county
it's
picture?
This one right here.
Oh,
It looks
so
like
that
a
was
POW.
so that was, and that was the one donated to the city? Okay, I'm unfamiliar with that. So I would honestly start with one of the commissioners and ask them. Casey Garrett would also be probably a good contact for you. He's in charge of kind of parks for the county. So he oversees that plaza area.
Okay.
He's probably going to be your best contact for how to go about it and how to submit it to the county commissioners and be able to answer some of those questions. I don't have any information about the POW flag.
Okay. And my last question is, sorry.
Can I jump in a minute?
Yes.
The prisoner of war flag, the PLO flag, that has some federal connections, because almost all flagpoles in all counties of the U.S. should be flying that now. There's a congressional connection to the ability to fly that flag. That's not just something somebody locally donated. Now, they might have donated the flag itself, but the requirement to fly it, I believe, is a similar flag underneath the American flag in front of the police station. But there's a congressional connection to that flag. So
yeah, I think that one was passed in 2016 that I was reading from the governor.
Yes,
so,
something like that, correct.
Okay. So my last question too, is there a way that the St. Helens Arts Commission as a commission can get behind this? you know, rather than just redirecting these people to go directly to the county, is this something that as a commission we can stand behind?
In my opinion, you don't necessarily need the commission to stand behind it. I mean, because it's not something we necessarily handle. Now, if someone were to come up to us and say, I want to try to put together some educational, artistic, something of historical significance, and they want to educate the community regarding Juneteenth, I'm messing it up. Juneteenth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then that's where we can get involved because of the cultural aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I'm going to suggest to you is that have them redirect the letter to the commissioners to talk about to get the flag up there. And then if someone wants to try to create an educational cultural opportunity, that's how we as the Arts and Culture Commission can get involved.
Okay, so just the flag itself does not fall into the cultural aspect of the Arts and Cultural Commission?
I don't think so, no, because again, we're more city as opposed to county.
Okay, well, I think that sounds good then. So, so I will talk with the people who provided this letter, and then that's something to go forward. I've never, you know, done something like this before, so that's good to know.
At first, I thought the photo was the Rose Garden. I was going to say, that's city. You can totally do it. But no, now that I see, that is totally county right there.
Well, the Rose Garden is the county too.
No, I thought that was city.
No, it's all owned by the county.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify my comment earlier. I just mean as a citizen, I would like to, I didn't see that go around anywhere, so I would, support it as a citizen.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Get it to Ken, and I guarantee that a sucker will get distributed, Kim.
Okay. Well, does anyone have any other questions about the St. Helens Juneteenth flag section? All right, well then I guess we can move on then to the ACC update. So that's under Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Kimberly. Hey, I just wanted to update the ACC on a couple things IT related. Not sure if you know or not or have heard anything, but the city is kind of going through a big IT upgrade. And so we're rewriting a lot of policies and a lot of new guidelines that haven't been in place in the past or have been kind of unwritten rules about who can do what and start this and that. And I know we've had some recent discussions with the ACC regarding Facebook pages or Instagram. And the city will also be writing some guidelines as far as email accounts. And so as we start to kind of go through our own email and internal servers and everything and kind of clean all of the old stuff up. One thing that came to light was the Gmail account that the ACC has, and that we may have to look into closing that Gmail account just because of some public records issues that have come to light in the recent past, public records request, and any kind of, potential of city business happening, outside of a quorum meeting kind of thing. So I know the Arts Commission has the share drive that you guys use. And I have asked Dawn to, now that she has access to that, to download everything in that ACC folder down onto our servers so that it is, stored for just historic purposes in a case if we ever get any kind of public records request for anything in the past, that we ensure that it's backed up and we're able to get it as far as staff is concerned. But that was the only thing I wanted to bring up to the ACC, is that in the near future, we may have to look at closing that Gmail account. And so I just wanted to throw that kind of up in the air to get your initial thoughts and ideas, concerns. And then, as we kind of move towards that, we can work through any of the issues and concerns that may come up with the closing of that account.
So my first question is going to be then, what will we use to share information? So that way we all have access to it, because part of the reason we created the drive was because when I first joined, there was a lot of information that was not shared. And so we were reinventing the wheel consistently, or constantly. And we were always having to go ask Jamie for stuff because she's the one who had, you know, whatever information she could dig up. But in turn, Jamie was also having to do searches for stuff. And so Jen was originally, when she was commissioner chair, the one who tried to clean all of that up to make everything readily available to all commissioners. So that way, if we had a question about a past project, any one of us had access to that information. So that way we would be better prepared for our projects, any potential projects that we had, or if we needed to reference stuff, again, from the past. So like right now, I'm on it. Kim can be on, all of us can access it. We're downloading all of the past meeting minutes down there, because that was another issue, is when we would ask about past meeting minutes, nobody had anything. So I think 2017 is when Jen created the folder, and so we have meeting minutes from 2017. So what is there going to be solutions, so that way we can continue to function this way, because a lot of us were pretty frustrated that we could not access anything from the past.
I understand that frustration. I know specifically for, and this may be a topic by topic kind of discussion over solutions and questions that you may have, specifically for the meeting minutes, those should be uploaded onto the city council website and kept there, along with being recorded with the city recorder and her permanent records that she has to keep for any kind of city business. So to get council meeting minutes from the past, you should be able to go back on the city council calendar and agenda to look up those meetings and minutes. Otherwise, you would need to email Kathy, our city recorder, or you could get a hold of still Margaret or Dawn to access those minutes and send those to you if you needed them.
How far back? Because I think we have done that, and we've come across some roadblocks.
What kind of roadblocks?
Nobody could find them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's that simple of an answer. Nobody could find them. We asked about past contracts that were out there for existing projects that were done. You know, emails came back saying this is all I could dig up. So and yeah.
As much as I know why the ACC folder was created, I would venture to believe and somewhat assume that the reason some of that stuff doesn't exist was because nobody was keeping a record of stuff, and it's why you created stuff in the first place.
Yeah, that's why Jen created the folder.
Correct. So what we're trying to do as a city is take ownership of those documents to make sure that we have a record and that they're backed up and they're never lost again.
So is there a cloud-based system or server where the ACC can access those documents?
I would need to talk about that with our IT. Normally, I would say no, because if you need access to anything on our server or any of our folders, you have to have a city login and password and account set up. So normally the people who would only have access to that would be the employees. And it would be, the process would be that you would need to, if you needed a copy of something, you would have to contact Margaret or Dawn or Kathy.
Oh, okay. And then we would have to save it locally to our own.
You could save it locally. But if anything, like if you took a document and updated it or something for some kind of project, it would be on you to then send that updated document to the city, so we have that as a record.
Okay. One of the things that I've always wanted to ask about this was whether it would be possible for the Arts Commission to get email addresses and business cards. Just, I know that we're not doing events right now, but in the future, it's something that if we, run into an artist or we're at networking or something, it would be really good to have that. So, I mean, if we even have an email address, or I know that even with my work, they provide access to a cloud-based, because everybody is all over the place.
Correct.
So that way, like, we would have access to a shared place where we can all access files, similar to how we've been doing it with Google Drive, but this would be a more official way to do it.
I will need to talk with our IT and our IT management company to see what is possible. The IT management company that we use has experience with public agencies in the past, so they may have a solution that I'm not aware of right now. So that is definitely something I can look into and let you all know.
Okay, sounds good.
But that's all I had.
Okay. And then the very last part of our agenda is the community news. Does anyone have any community news to share?
I think the only thing I can share at this point is that the 5th annual Columbia Century Challenge is still pushing forward. If you're not familiar, it is the annual bike ride that happens here in Columbia County. We are taking every precaution necessary. We are going to be following every safety guideline that has been recommended. Ours tends to be a more intimate ride. And so, you know, especially because we're out here in Columbia County, the space and everything, the roads, we're fortunate that they're not too compacted. So we are still accepting registration. And you can just go to the website, it's like a columbiacounty.com.
I guess I mentioned last time that that my nonprofit, we were distributing art care kits with free art supplies and activities for parents to do with their kids, and the supplies in the kits are all age appropriate, so they'd be fun for both adults and 4-year-olds, to be honest. We were able to partner with some folks in Scappoose to distribute them, but the St. Helens school system, we wound up not being able to, they had too much going on logistically to make it work. So I was just curious, like, if anybody else knows of an organization in St. Helens. We've been thinking about joining up with maybe the food bank up there, but as a way to distribute more of these care packages to local families. Be really interested to know if anybody has any contacts. We still have like a chunk of them that we'd like to hand out and get into people's hands before the end of summer. So
I would contact Shauna Dugan with the city. She's the head of the rec department.
Yeah,
and she and our youth librarian have been distributing kits all summer in various venues, primarily through the food bank.
Have you reached out to Claire from United?
What?
Have you reached out to Claire?
Claire.
Claire Catt.
Yes, thank you.
The executive director of United Way for the local Columbia County chapter.
Okay.
Every day at the Lewis and Clark School, they pass out lunches for the kids too. You may want to talk to them and see if they'll take an extra burden on, because they're feeding a lot of kids. They're feeding about 500 kids a day. So that's another place that we have contact with people coming through.
Thank you.
I don't know if you were able to get in touch with Betty at Columbia County Developmental Disabilities Program a while back, but I know there are a lot of kids and families in sort of quarantine right now, parents of kids with disabilities who are not really able to get out, and I'm sure they would really benefit. Betty Bundy, yeah, I hope I shared her information with you before, but if not, I can send it again.
I'll go back through my email. Thank you. Oh, I got it. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, did we have any other community news to share?
I'm waiting for Margaret. They usually have something at the library.
Well, the library is a different place these days. We're doing curbside service.
Oh,
4 different days during the week. We have a 3-hour window of time when we do curbside service. And those hours are listed on our website. And some of these kits that you were talking about, we call them Take It and Make It kits. Some of those get put out at the library, but they're distributed in other places around the city as well. But we've changed a lot of things to our online platform. We have an online summer reading program this year. Our youth librarian is doing online story times. We're just increasingly moving different things to online options. Our genealogy group is going to go to Zoom meetings in September. So we're trying to serve the public with, some safe options, but it really has made it difficult for us to do our traditional programming. So we've worked really hard to pivot to new options. Oh, and there's a digital library card. So if you don't have a St. Helens library card, or you are a non-resident and have maybe resisted getting a card because you didn't want to pay the non-resident fee, from now until Labor Day, we have what's called a digital-only library card, and you can sign up for that online. And that there's like I think a 24-hour waiting period after you sign up for it to become active. But then you can access at no charge our downloadable ebooks, audiobooks, our downloadable music, our digital magazines, and all of our databases. That's a way that we can serve the community at a time when people are confined to home. So check those things out on our webpage and follow our Facebook page.
Well,
and I will add one little snippet. Tomorrow, U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley is having a town hall at 10:30 on, I don't know if it's Zoom, it's online. And his office contacted our library today and asked to have our youth librarian talk a little bit about some of the outreach activities that we have created in order to serve youth. One of the things that she collaborated with the recreation department on, besides the distribution of these kits, was a storytime stroll that got installed by Public Works in the McCormick Park. And so they were intrigued. They read about some of this stuff in the Chronicle and they were intrigued. So they've asked her to speak for just a few minutes about what our library is doing for youth. So if you're inclined to listen to political town halls, there'll be a 2 to 3 minute treat in there. That's all I have.
Yeah,
Thanks, Letitia.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
I wanted to bring up one more thing. I know that we have an open seat on the commission. Is that something that we want to put out there, or how does that, because I just found out earlier this afternoon, how would that work to just do we want to put it out to advertise that anybody is interested in joining the Arts Commission?
I'll chime in really quick. We do have 3 applicants. I also just found out this afternoon. We have 3 applicants already on file. Kathy sent me this afternoon those applications. So I'm going to get with her. This process is completely new to me. I don't know kind of what the next steps are. So I'll see what we do with those applications versus putting it out there to receive more. I'm not sure about that process, but we do have 3 on hand right now.
The other thing I should probably mention, Dawn, is according to my chart, Letitia and Jenna's terms expire at the end of September. And you are allowed to fill, you are allowed to serve 2 full terms. So if you were brought onto a commission partway through the term, you can fill that partial term and then still be eligible to fill two complete terms. And it looks like both Letitia and Jenna have only, well, Jenna, you will be filling a partial term. So you were appointed just a little over a year ago, right?
Yeah.
So this term that you have coming to an end is a partial. So you are, by the municipal code, able to serve 2 more full terms should you desire. And Letitia, it looks like you will have filled a full term. So you're eligible for 1 more full term. So I think one of the things you need to do is find out who of our current members plan to re-up. And because if either of you do not plan to continue on the Arts Commission, then Dawn, you would actually want to probably minimize your effort to advertise, particularly because of the cost to maybe put it in the Chronicle, and maybe try to, I would think, to try to combine the advertising should either of these 2 or both decide not to continue. Because if we put something out and we fill 1 position and decline the other 2, then if we have any vacancies in another, month after that, then we'll have doubled our advertising costs, and we will have turned somebody away that maybe was interested. So I don't know what your intentions are. I'm not saying that I'm trying to scare you off. I'm just saying that your term is coming up and we have to ask that question, do you mean to continue? And anybody who's already on a commission, if their term is up and they want to continue, they get priority to do that rather than to open it up. So that's just another data point to consider.
So since those are up in September, would we need to wait till the September meeting to do that? Or is it something we could do sooner? Or
well, I think if you haven't made up your mind, you certainly have until then. But if somebody already knows, then and they don't want to continue, then when we advertise, we could advertise for a second position to start on when somebody is going to end their term. I'm just thinking of it in terms of just the efficiency of addressing transitions all at once.
Could we put something out that says that we have seats open on the Arts Commission, or just even like in general, if you're interested in applying to be on the Arts Commission, like maybe just through social media?
Yeah, because even if those 3 applications that Dawn has, those 3 might not have the time, because we did experience that when we were filling seats before. We reached out to past applicants, and maybe 1 or 2 out of, I think, 5 or 6 that we had were still interested. The other ones, they didn't have the time or they weren't interested anymore.
Well, Dawn, you'll get all the expert advice from Kathy. She's our resident expert in the city, so I contend that she knows everything. So,
I would agree with you.
so she can guide you, but I'm just throwing that out just as a thought for trying to maybe simplify things. I mean, we have on the library board, we have a possible 9 positions and as few as 7. We can have from 7 to 9 is the way our code is written. And right now we only have 7. And we aren't compelled to fill the other 2. So, you know, if you guys even want to wait a little bit to fill that one until their term would start during the normal cycle, you could do that too.
Makes sense.
Okay, so do we want to just revisit this conversation at our September meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I will say, so in the event our baby comes like a week early and I can't be at that meeting, I do plan on continuing, and I would like to re-up my term. So just throwing that out there right now.
So
that's good to know.
I was going to say, Dawn, that might be a good question to ask Kathy with a potential of Jenna might having to miss the meeting. You know, how would we go about reinstating or re-upping?
Okay, yeah.
In the past, what I've seen happen is that somebody expresses an intent to continue, and then their name is put forward to the council just as if it were a brand new one. And they say that, you know, they say, are there any appointments during the council meeting? And then they say that, you know, so-and-so wants to continue for another term. And sometimes people ask how many terms have they already served to make sure that they've not exceeded the allowed number of terms. So we'd have to put those names back up again. But I mean, it's a formality. If you're already on the commission and the commission has to vote for you to continue. We have to, just like it's a fresh nomination. But as far as I know, that's never an issue. When are you due?
Like the last week in September, first part of October. So like
wow.
The 28th through the 2nd.
So exactly when we're meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, just so you know, Jenna, I was 9 months pregnant when I got appointed to the Arts Commission.
Oh my.
So back in 2017. So I was like, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I ended up having my daughter like right in between meetings. So I didn't. So yeah, it worked out.
Wait, was that at the beginning of 2017?
Yeah, she was born in March. So.
Oh, how funny. Yeah, because I moved here in 2017 and then I joined the commission towards the end. And you had already had, yeah, okay. Oh, how funny. Sorry.
So, okay. Do we have anything else to add to the community news section? All right. I think that's it then. So are we good to go ahead and adjourn the meeting? 7:51?
Yeah, Kimberly, just a reminder, when you close, it should pop up an extra window for you to save the recording, and then you can upload that to the ACC folder.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.
Great.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
See you next time.
Yes.